It's now January the 17th, and those of you who have been looking at my vlogs or my Instagram will have been, some of you may have been quite bored by the fact that we went on holiday and I was doing a little bit of the history of where we went to, but other ones may have liked it. I know I got a few thumbs down thinking, oh, where's the sewing gone? But we are back in the sewing, we're back doing the sewing. We went on holiday, our usual January holiday, and we went to Dieppe, which is in northern France, and it was quite a beautiful little town. We didn't know what to expect. It was a beautiful town that we went to, and really nice beach, nice views. And if you go to the little shorts that I've put on YouTube, if you haven't got Instagram, that shows you what it was like, a bit of what it was like. I've just been getting myself sorted. This is a second-hand charity cardigan that I bought just before we went away. I haven't worn it yet, it's been washed, but I thought it would be quite nice, a nice grey one to keep me warm for being here with the winter, with constantly having to turn the heating down to save money. Anyway, we went to Dieppe, had a lovely time in Dieppe. But I suffered with my knee, suffered badly with my knee. I've done an awful lot. We go with John, who's a scout leader, and he likes walking. And we kept saying, John, you go off and walk, because he wanted to walk and walk and walk. And I just kept saying, I can only do one walk a day, I can't do any more. And I have done so much research on my knee. It's not my knee that's the problem. I had an accident. I went to the doctors just the other day, and apparently it was 2013. I fell down an embankment with my dog at the time, and I tore my meniscus. I must have done some other damage, because a few weeks later we went walking with friends, and we did a 7-mile walk, and I hit a wall, kind of as in I couldn't go any further, and they had to go and get the car, and I couldn't walk, and my leg swelled up terribly. And then after that, I could feel liquid going down my calf. And here it was apparently a Baker's cyst that had burst. Because of the damage to my knee, it had caused a swelling at the back of my knee. And that had, the pressure of walking had caused it to split and burst. And so I was told to rest. I went to see a consultant, and he said, yes, you've got a Baker's cyst, you just need to rest it. Walk, but not too much, and keep your leg raised, and you'll be fine. But unfortunately, since October, I can't straighten my legs. I'm walking around like the Hunchback of Notre Dame. I can't walk properly. So I had to make an appointment. I thought, right, I'm going to make an appointment. I made it before we went to France, and went to see the doctor, and he said, yes, it sounds like it's a Baker's cyst that you've got. And I said, well, I've had it for a long time, and that's probably why I struggle to walk, because it's not the knee that hurts, it's the flesh behind it, and it's up the tendon. You just think somebody's sticking a knife in the back of my leg. So I've just had a phone call this morning, now going to go and see a clinician who's going to decide what the next stage forward is. So at least I'm happy about that, things are moving. The other thing was, just before Christmas, I got a phone call. Some of you may have noticed I had a little lump in the inside of my lip, and I had been to see about that in January or February, and they said, did I want to get it cut out? And I said yes. And I think it was 4 days before Christmas, they rang up and said, we've got a cancellation, would you like to come? And I said, oh yes, I'll come. And she said, oh my goodness me, everybody's saying no because it's so close to Christmas and they want to eat their Christmas dinner. And I said, I don't care, I want it removed. I'm fed up with it, remove it. And our friend Barbara, she'd had something similar. She'd had bitten the inside of her lip and caused a swelling a couple of years ago. And she went to get it removed, and she said they just put her in a dentist type seat, took it, anaesthetised it and took it out. And that was what I was expecting. I was expecting to be just like you do in a dentist chair. What a rigmarole, dear me. I got there, and of course they then I had to be there for 7:30, and I didn't get attended to till 11, so which wasn't too bad given the NHS. And I was trying to console a man who was going to get all his teeth out. He was in his 50s and he's going, I don't know if I can cope with all this, all my teeth coming out in one go. And I'm going, you'll be fine, just take deep breaths. Anyway, had to get changed into a robe, then had to be wheeled to an operating theatre in a wheelchair. They wheeled me into the operating theatre. There's about 8 people in the operating theatre, and they got me on the bed, sheet up to there, thing on my thumb, on my finger to check my pulse. I'm counting 42 lights in the operating theatre lights, and I'm thinking, all this just to take a lump off here. So then they said, oh, the surgeon will be coming in a minute. So I'm lying there, and the nurse kept saying, are you all right? Are you all right? I'm going, yes, I'm fine. And then she said, oh, the surgeons are coming in now. They're coming in now. So I could hear, I'm kind of lying, I could see some people coming in. 2 surgeons came in, one either side, and they said, we're going to put your thing up to here, then we're going to put these glasses on, then we're going to cover your eyes because the operating theatre lights are so bright. And then we're going to inject, we're going to numb you. And I'm thinking, well, I've had that before with getting a filling in your teeth. We're going to numb you, and then we'll remove it. And I'm thinking, well, that'll only take 2 minutes, which it did. It took about 2 or 3 minutes. All this rigmarole, they cut it out. I could feel them cutting it, to be honest, which was quite a strange feeling. But anyway, they cut it out, and then they stitched it up with 3 stitches. And then they had this long piece of muslin that was wet, and they stuck that in, and I had this piece hanging down here. So they said, there you are, that's done. And I thought, right, I'll sit up. And the nurse said, no, don't sit up, just stay there a minute, get yourself composed. And I'm thinking, oh, for goodness sake, I've just had a little lump taken out, you know. So then she made me sit up and turn around and have my feet dangling off the side of the bed. Then I was going to get up and stand. Oh, no, don't do that, we'll put you in the wheelchair. So I was put in the wheelchair again, and then wheeled through to the changing rooms. I was then able to change back into my clothes, and then and everybody had disappeared. And so I thought, I went up to the nurse's station. I said, can I go? Oh, no, you've got to wait. They've got to let you, you know, they've got to what's the word? They've got to release you, sort of. So I then had to go back to the waiting room, and I waited, and then the nurse came and she said, are you okay? And I said, yes, I'm fine. Yes, I'm fine. So she said, right, yeah, well, you know, this is the paper. If you've got anything wrong, if you know, take Nurofen and do this, that, and the other. So off I went home. Is somebody taking you home? And I said, no. I was thinking, no, I'm driving home myself. There's nothing wrong with me. So anyway, I drove home, and within an hour, they put 3 stitches in. Within an hour, I'm going, there's a stitch come out. Then about 2 hours later, I went, there's another stitch come out. So I had 1 stitch left. Unfortunately, that stitch held, at least for 24 hours. I think it came out after that. But everything's fine. I have got a tiny bit of numbness just at the top there. But it did start numb there. It's taken a couple of weeks to get up to here, and I think it will eventually go. So that was another thing that I had done. Now, there were 3 things that I had to get sorted. My knee. Oh, and I also had to go for, well, I had gone to the doctors. I rarely go to the doctors. I don't take tablets, don't need anything. But I was a bit, I wouldn't say a bit concerned, but I went because every time we go walking, if we go up a hill, I'm out of breath. So, and I think a couple of you, Angela's pointed out and said, you're heavy breathing. So I thought, right, I'm going to go and see the doctor, go and see, have I got a heart problem? Is there something wrong? My mother had angina, my dad was fit as a fiddle. And so I went to see the doctor, and he said, I think we'll refer you. He said, just because and also there's been heart problems in the family. So he said, we'll refer you to go and get checked. So I went. Took about 3 or 4 months, but I went for an ultrasound, fine. I went for blood tests, fine. I then went on the treadmill, and they put me on 3 levels. One was like that, no, one was flat, then it went up, then it went up, and then it went up. And as it got higher, if they just kept the same speed, I would have been all right, but it was going fast, and I can't. I had to to tell them to stop. I said, I can't do this last one. I said, please, I can't do this last one. So they stopped that. And then I got a message back saying everything's fine, no heart problems. So I think I think the truth is that when I was younger, when I was a young girl, up until my 30 until I was about 35, I used to play hockey. I was very sporty, and I couldn't run very fast. I used to play hockey, but I was the defence, so I could do short spurts, but I couldn't do long ones. I've also got flat feet, which doesn't help. And then also, I remember when I was training to be a teacher, I was trained to be a biology teacher, and we did a lung capacity test to see who had the best lung capacity. And it was a bit like doing the breathalyzer. You had to blow through this tube for as long and as hard as you could. Well, I did it, and I was the one that had the least lung capacity. So I think it's a combination of flat feet, being overweight possibly, although no, because years ago when I had this, I was very slim and I still had this issue. I think it's a combination of flat feet and my lungs obviously not being as good as other people's, and I hate walking, to be honest. I can't stand walking, but I know it's good for me, so we go walking. And it's probably a bit of this in here, thinking, oh God, I don't want to have to do this. It's trudging, it's awful. But I do enjoy it, to be honest. As long as we've got good scenery, I don't mind. So those are all what's been going on, plus the reason why I haven't been vlogging. I didn't do a Christmas vlog because we had a lot going on, looking after grandchildren, and just one thing and another. I think his lordship was that we were toing and froing quite a lot, picking up the kids and getting them back. And I do a lot of this vlogging at the weekend, and of course we had the kids at the weekend, so not every weekend but some weekends. And the weekends that we didn't have the kids, we decided we'd go and do something. So it was kind of a sorry folks, you're being ignored. But all that aside, and I've done 12 minutes, I have been sewing, and I've sewn quite a few things. Now, what have I been sewing? Oh, well, I'll show you some fabric that I've got first. Before Christmas, I bought 2 pieces of fabric. So I'll put in here a little video of the fabric that I got. So, I'll turn you around first. So the first one was some wild rainbow polycotton fabric. Then I got 3 meters for £1 a meter. And this is it. And it looks lovely. It's quite a stiff fabric. It's going to need probably softening up somehow, or probably when I'm manipulating it and sewing it, it'll soften up. But it looks lovely. Look at this. And I figured that would make a nice summer dress next year, or some kind of an outfit. Then the next one was red and green check on black boucle fabric. I got 2 meters and it was £4.50 a meter. And this is the red and green check. This is actually looks better. This looks better than I had expected it to be. It's fairly thin. I probably would have to put some lining in or have an unlined version. I think it'd be best with lining on or something because it is quite thin. But it's a lovely colour. It's like red and green, and that's almost a black colour. So that's really nice. So that's the second one. And now I've just received two more fabrics, which pound fabrics were offering cheap. And the first one is this velvet, orange velvet. And if you can just see up in that corner there, the walls are orange. We bought a dining suite and the cushions are green, the covers are green. So I want to make orange covers. So I got this. And if I've got any spare, I'll do some cushions for the sofa over there. And of course, also, I'm going to interrupt. And of course, the sad thing is that I think the last proper vlog I did say that I think my cat was ready to go, and she was, bless her. I didn't want her to go. And I wanted to hang on to her as long as I could, but I could see she was really in a bad state. Good morning, everybody. December the 21st. I have just got up, so no makeup, nothing. Yesterday, if you were looking at my Instagram, I had the sad duty to take my poor cat to be put to sleep. She was spending a lot of time with her head stuck on the water bowl. She was spending a lot of time with her head leaning on the water bowl, eating a lot of food but not getting fat, getting incredibly thin, and basically started pooing all over the floor, diarrhea, the whole works. And I just thought, this is it. I knew she was about ready to go, and so sad to say we had to decide to go and take her up. And the good thing is that I gave her some little treats before we went in, and she was purring. And I said to the vet said that sometimes they do purr when they're stressed. They purr not when they're stressed, when they're not well, when they really know they're not well. She said they do purr sometimes, because I said she'd be doing a lot of purring, and she said, well, they purr because they're happy, but they also purr when they're not well. So and she went very peacefully. I had a cry, I must admit, I did have a cry, but she went peacefully. She went very quickly and very peacefully, so I was very pleased. You will notice that I have a mark there. I had the pleasure of going and getting that lump removed on the inside of my lip. Quite a good tale to tell there. Her hair was matted, and the only way she would let me brush her hair, she's never been one for letting me brush her hair. She started off as a vicious cat and ended up being as soft as anything, and always wanted to sit by my laptop when I was working. And her hair was getting terrible, and the only way I could brush it was when she was eating. She would let me brush it, and other than that, she'd turn on me. And her head was by the water bowl, constantly by the water bowl. I think it was her kidneys and other things that were wrong. She ate like mad, wanted to eat like mad, she drank almost a gallon of water a day. So I went to the vet, and I knew she was going to say no, it's time. And so the vet was absolutely wonderful. I kissed her all the way through. I kept going, you're going to see, you're going to see Bella? No. You're going to see, kissing her head. And the vet just shaved her. She went very, even the vet said, she went quicker than I expected her to. So we are now pet free, which in some ways is absolutely lovely, because we don't have hairs all over the place, even though we hoover and dust and all sorts. But we do miss not having a pet, and we kept coming into this. She was always in this room, and we kept saying, oh, we really miss she's not here, and it's amazing how you miss her not being around. So, but I think we won't be bothering for a while to get another one. I think not until we're really housebound or something. I don't know. You watch this space, you never know. So the other fabric that I got, I've forgotten what the lady's name was, but do you know those two dresses that I showed you that I'd made that were Viv Mom type dresses? Well, one lady, and I can't remember who she was. If I find it, I'll put it up here somewhere. She said, I bet that would look lovely in a needle cord, in a navy blue needle cord. And I thought, you're right, it would. And then I looked up the price of needle cord, and I thought, yeah, it would look lovely in needle cord, but I'm not paying that price. So then I actually, with this pound fabrics, along with that velvet, they had on offer a very cheap needle cord. Now, what was the price of it? It was it's an army green needle cord. Now, I don't know what this will look like in here. It's actually a khaki colour. It's like English army colours. And I love this colour. I love an army green. So I thought, right, I'll try it with this. And if this turns out nice and I want to wear it, then I may do a navy blue one. This was £5.75 a metre. And I got 2 metres. So does that show better that way? It's kind of an army green. Yeah, it's just like khaki trousers. What I would call it khaki. It's like khaki trousers. So that was 2 metres, and it's a needle cord. I don't know if you can see the. Can you see the needle cord? That's the. it goes that way. So if I turn that around like that, there you go. So I got that, and the orange velvet was 650 metre, and I got 3 metres, so enough to cover 6 chairs and maybe a cushion or 2. So that came to £34.99. So it's stuff that I'm going to use. So I'm quite pleased with that. Now, what else have I been doing? I've made a couple of coats. One of them you will have seen. A lot of you will have seen, and I bought some tartan fabric, and I kind of regretted what I did with it in one sense, because I was going to make a jacket with it. And then when I got the fabric, it was like a boucle type of tartan. And I thought, I don't know if that's going to look nice as a jacket. So in the end, I thought, right, I once made a black Chelsea cardigan, and I loved it. I wear it like a coat when I go out over a dress or something in winter. And so I thought, right, I'll make a Chelsea cardigan with it. So this is the Chelsea cardigan that I made. And I liked that. I thought that was really nice. It's different, although the only problem is, because it looks like a cardigan, I'm inclined to think it looks a bit like a dressing gown. So, might wear it more in the summer, I don't know. Just wasn't sure about it. Then, as I say, I'm using up my fabric, and I found, I've had on my fabric for a long time, some red, grey, cream and black striped brushed. It's like a wool, but it was like one direction, a bit like this corduroy. And I planned to make a coat with it, and I thought, oh, do I really want to make a long coat with it? So I decided I would make a jacket. And the jacket that I made was I used the Paolo free pattern that I've made 2 jackets from already. I made the 2 jackets from some canvas fabric that I had, and it's turned out rather nice. So I'll let you see what that looks like. So here, this is what this looks like. So there you go. That's what I've been sewing. I've actually been doing a lot more. My niece asked me to put some new lining in her jacket, and I'll put a little snippet up about that, because it wasn't actually the lining that needed replacing. It was just the stitching in the lining had rotted. Can you see that fur coat? That's a fur coat I'm busy doing. I've relined it and redone it. It's a lovely fur coat. I'll show you that.
This is my niece's first coat, fur coat. She bought it, she said in 2008, I think. And she got it for £20. And it is an Alexon. And if those of you who are in the UK will know the Alexon is a good make. So the lining was all falling apart. Not the lining, the stitching that held the lining in was falling apart. So I've reused it. I've basically, what I've done is I've washed the lining. It's still got some stains on it. And I've lined it down the middle there with a little bit of, just to add a bit more movement so it doesn't rip. I've had this little tape that my mother had in her haberdashery. And my mother loved fur coats. And I was telling my niece, I said, I put a little bit of this kind of flowery tape on the inside. And I said, your grandma loved fur coats. And it's, with it being her tape, it's from her haberdashery. There's a little bit of nostalgia there, so that when you wear it, you'll know that she loved her fur coats and that she's got a bit of ribbon in there belonging to her. It's like a real fur. It's not, but it's a fake fur, and it's absolutely lovely. Anyway, I've sent that to her. My brother has sent several things up for me to fix. I had to fix some tears on his jacket. On a walking jacket, he'd caught on a barbed wire. I fixed that. I'll put some... And then I had to fix a back seam on a very expensive waterproof jacket that had been nibbled by rats. I don't know where he'd had his coat, but I managed to patch that up and make it waterproof again. And he's just sent me some trousers that he wants me to let out. And I said, well, you're now 78. I think he's 78. I said, you should be losing weight as you get older. So you might, if I let them out, you might not, they might drop down. So he might have to start wearing braces. But the latest thing is I'm also finding bits of scrap fabric and trying to think of what to do with this. Well, not scrap fabric, but the leftover bits like this. And I've got some ideas for what to do with these. And most of the times it involves making a scarf of some sort. So watch this space, because probably in the next week or so I'm going to make some more scarf videos. I've also come across, in my pile of stuff, this, which is grey and purple, and it was actually curtains. I'd bought them for £12.50 years ago. They were £35 and I bought them for £12.50. And my plan was, I've dismantled them all, and my plan was to make a coat or a jacket. So I think I might make the same kind of jacket. And what size are they? 117 wide by 137. So I should be able to get a jacket out of there. So I figured, right, I'm going to make a jacket out of that and see what that turns out like. Thank you so much for all the comments. I've had some lovely comments from you, especially about about Bella dying. I never called her by her name. I always said the white cat and the black cat. And as you know, we lost the black cat about 2 years ago. And I kept saying the white cat's not well. And I used to talk to her, and his lordship used to say, why are you talking to her? She's deaf. She can't read. She can't hear what you're saying. And I said, yes, but you can lip read. So she will be a sad miss. But thank you very much for all your condolences for that. And thank you for just still sticking with me, for putting up with me, for sticking with me. And sorry I've missed you a lot. And hopefully 2025 will probably, I'm keeping my fingers crossed that 2025 is going to be a better year all round. This has been dealt with. The heart's been checked out. I'm fine with the heart. Still no tablet taking apart from Nurofen for the leg, which hopefully I've had a phone call this morning. Got to go and see the clinician at the end of this month. So things are looking good. But anyway, we are back home, back to normal. Got some fabric there that I need to find something to do with. Got a few other fabrics all over the place. Still got fabrics here. Still a few to use up. And I think I will definitely be sewing a few things. So I'm going to love you and I'm going to leave you. I'll catch you next time. Bye.